Ladies and gentlemen, friends, let me ask you a question today. Have you ever looked in the mirror and wondered, is this all there is? Have you ever felt that deep inside, there's a force, a potential, a fire you never dared to explore? Maybe you've gone through life thinking, I'm ordinary, I'm limited, I can't do that. Yet deep down, something whispers, something stirs and says, there is more. Today, I want to tell you a truth that most people never realize until life pushes them to their limits. There's greatness inside you that you didn't even know existed. You see, every one of us has a reservoir of power, a hidden capacity that is waiting for a moment of discovery. Sometimes life's challenges, failures, and disappointments act as a mirror, showing us not what we lack, but what we haven't yet unleashed. You may not have known this was in you, but it is. It's there, quietly waiting for you to recognize it, to step forward, and to claim it. Think about this for years. Seeds lie dormant in the ground. They don't grow overnight. They don't show their potential immediately. But the day they sprout, they become trees, they bear fruits, they provide shade, they change the environment around them. In the same way, your potential has always been inside you. It just hasn't had the opportunity, the courage, or the awakening to grow. Too often, people wait for someone to recognize them, to give them permission, or to provide an opportunity. But the truth is, you don't need permission. You only need awareness. You need the courage to explore the unknown within yourself. The abilities, the talents, the wisdom, the strength, they've always been there. You just didn't know it. You might have been told, it's impossible. That's not for you. Those words, those limits may have created doubt, fear, and hesitation. But here's the exciting thing about human potential. It doesn't shrink because others doubt you. It grows when you challenge yourself. It awakens when you step into the realm of courage and self-discovery. Every great accomplishment in history started with someone discovering what was in them. The person who writes a book, creates a business, leads a movement, or changes lives, they began with a realization. I didn't know this was in me, but I'm going to find out. That moment, that decision to explore your potential is where greatness begins. You see, discovering yourself is not always comfortable. It demands risk. It demands persistence. It demands resilience. It requires you to step into the unknown, confront your fears, and challenge your limitations. It is in that journey that you will uncover strength, creativity, vision, and power you never thought existed. Some of you have been settling. Some of you have been living small because you didn't know what else you were capable of. But what if I told you that everything you've ever needed to succeed, to influence, to achieve, and to excel is already inside you? The moment you decide to believe in that, the moment you choose to explore yourself fully, you begin to live a life beyond limits, beyond expectations, beyond ordinary. Today, I want you to leave here with a commitment. Don't wait for life to push you into discovering your potential. Choose to explore, choose to grow, choose to uncover what's inside you. The fire, the genius, the power, the purpose, they are there, waiting for you to say, I am ready. Greatness is not given. Greatness is revealed. It is discovered. It is awakened. You didn't know this was in you until now. But today is the day you begin to know. Today is the day you start the journey to uncovering the extraordinary within. Don't waste another moment doubting yourself. Don't settle for less than what you were born to be. You have untapped power, unimaginable strength, and a purpose that the world is waiting for you to claim. Step into it, embrace it, live it, and watch how your life and the lives of those around you transform. Your life is a treasure chest of hidden potential. Open it, explore it, unleash it, because the world doesn't need ordinary. It needs the extraordinary that has been in you all along. And now you finally know. Have you ever watched a seed lying on the soil, small, unremarkable, unnoticed, and yet carrying the blueprint of a towering tree, one that could give shade, bear fruit, and change the environment around it forever? That seed is like you. At first glance, you may look ordinary to the world. You may even look ordinary to yourself. You may feel like you don't have the skills, the courage, the talent, or the wisdom to make a difference. But the truth is, the extraordinary is already inside you. Every person has hidden potential waiting to be discovered, and just like the seed, it doesn't announce itself until the right conditions awaken it. Think about the person who wakes up every day at 4 in the morning to prepare for a marathon. They run when their body screams to stop. They push when their mind begs them to quit. And yet each step is a discovery of strength, they didn't know existed. If they had listened to the voice of limitation inside their mind, they would never know that their legs could carry them 10, 20, even 42 kilometers. They would never know that inside them lies a resilience capable of overcoming pain, fatigue, and fear. This is not just physical potential, it is the human spirit revealing itself. Consider a single mother who works 2 jobs, comes home exhausted, yet still finds time to teach her children values, discipline, and kindness. She doesn't see herself as extraordinary. She doesn't claim to be superhuman, yet every day she uncovers patience, creativity, and strength that even she didn't know was in her. She discovers that she can stretch time, manage energy, and inspire young minds. That hidden potential, quietly unfolding, is proof that the human spirit contains more than we realize. Imagine a young student struggling in school, failing tests, doubting their intelligence, thinking they are not capable of success. Then one day they find a subject, a topic, a teacher, or a method that awakens them. Suddenly, they are not just passing, they are excelling. They stay up late to study, they ask questions, they solve problems, and they realize that their mind was never limited, they just hadn't been shown the door to their potential. The moment of discovery doesn't come from luck. It comes from exploration, from refusing to accept the label of ordinary. Hidden potential is often like water trapped behind a dam. Until pressure builds, until necessity forces action, it remains invisible, untapped, underestimated. Think of the entrepreneur who loses everything in a failed business. Most people would quit, accept defeat, and live with regret. But the one who discovers their hidden potential uses failure as fuel. They realize they have creativity they didn't know existed, courage they didn't know they could summon, and strategic thinking that emerges under pressure. The hidden reservoir of human capability rises when the right circumstances challenge you to rise with it. Everyday life is full of these quiet awakenings. A person who never considered themselves artistic might pick up a brush during a moment of grief and create a painting that moves others to tears. A teacher who felt powerless in a classroom discovers a method that transforms students' understanding. A young man, once shy and uncertain, finds himself leading a team because circumstance requires him to speak, to organize, to motivate, and in the process, he uncovers leadership inside himself that was always there. You didn't know it, but it was waiting quietly for the moment you needed it. Sometimes hidden potential is revealed through suffering. The person who faces a life-threatening illness discovers a resilience, a determination, a will to live and to thrive that they never appreciated in ordinary times. A person who loses a loved one uncovers a capacity for empathy, for patience, for unconditional love that changes how they interact with everyone around them. The moments we resist, the moments we endure, are often the moments our hidden abilities rise to the surface. It is not that suffering creates potential. It awakens it, shows it, makes it undeniable. Even in the mundane, hidden potential exists. Think of a janitor cleaning a school hallway who notices a child struggling and decides to mentor them, not because it is required, but because compassion moves them. Think of a bus driver who goes out of his way to help an elderly passenger cross the street. Think of a neighbor who sees someone in need and quietly, without recognition, becomes a source of support. These small acts reveal character, courage, creativity, and empathy that are often invisible, unacknowledged, yet extraordinary. Hidden potential is not always talent or skill alone. It is character. It is integrity. It is the ability to respond when circumstances demand more than what we thought we had. It is the courage to face a challenge, the wisdom to learn from failure, the creativity to see opportunities where others see barriers. Consider the office employee who notices inefficiency and proposes a solution that transforms workflow, or the student who tutors classmates in secret, changing their academic trajectory. Their greatness was hidden, waiting for a moment, for a choice, for an action to bring it to light. So when you think you are ordinary, when you feel like you lack the resources, the talent, or the recognition, remember that hidden inside you is a potential far greater than you can imagine. It is waiting for discovery, for courage, for action. It is waiting for a choice to step into life fully, to embrace challenge, to endure, to explore, to create, to love, to inspire. It is in the small moments, in the trials, in the choices, and in the persistence of ordinary days that your extraordinary self is revealed. Look at your own life. Think about moments when you surprised yourself, when you did something you didn't think you could, when you showed patience you didn't know you had, when you stood up for someone, when you faced fear, when you pushed beyond comfort. Those were glimpses of the hidden power inside you. And every day there are more moments waiting. Every challenge, every opportunity, every setback is an invitation to discover what you didn't know was in you and to let it shine. Have you ever noticed how the strongest people you admire didn't get there by walking on easy paths? Have you ever watched someone face a storm, not just survive, but rise through it stronger, wiser, more capable than before? Life has a way of testing us, of presenting obstacles that seem impossible, of pushing us to the edges of our endurance, and yet it is in those very moments that our true capacity is revealed. Most people see challenges as limits, as walls that block their progress, but the truth is those walls are mirrors reflecting the strength, courage, and potential that have been inside us all along. Think about a young athlete who trains tirelessly, yet fails to make the team. The disappointment stings, the sense of inadequacy can crush a person. Some quit, some accept defeat. But the ones who realize that the challenge is not an end, but a revelation, dig deeper. They practice harder, learn more, and uncover skills they didn't know they had. Their capacity expands because the challenge forced them to go beyond what they thought was possible. The obstacle didn't limit them. It revealed a hidden reservoir of perseverance and talent. Consider a single mother who loses her job unexpectedly. The fear of bills, of providing for her children, of losing stability could be paralyzing. Yet she rises. She discovers resourcefulness she didn't know existed, making ends meet through creativity, determination, and resilience. She starts a small business, learns new skills, networks with people she never thought she could, and in the process, she uncovers her own capacity for leadership, for innovation, for endurance. The challenge was never a limitation, it was the revealing agent of her true power. Life's challenges often appear in subtle, everyday moments. The parent who balances work, school, and family life, barely sleeping, barely resting, yet finds a way to guide children, nurture relationships, and still maintain dignity and hope. The student who struggles with a difficult subject, failing repeatedly, yet stays up nights, asks questions, seeks help, and eventually masters the material, discovering patience, intelligence, and persistence they never fully appreciated. These challenges are not punishments, they are mirrors reflecting the unseen depth of human capability. Sometimes challenges come as heartbreak, betrayal, or loss. A person may feel shattered, as if the world has closed in. But in facing the pain, they uncover empathy, forgiveness, and resilience they didn't know were in them. They learn to stand again, not weaker, but wiser. They find a voice that speaks to others in similar situations, a strength that inspires and guides. Every trial, every tear, every moment of despair is an unveiling of the inner power that only emerges when tested. Even in the workplace, challenges reveal capacity. Think of an employee assigned a project far beyond their experience, with high stakes, tight deadlines, and skeptical colleagues. At first, fear grips them, doubt creeps in, and failure seems likely. Yet as they push forward, they discover problem-solving skills, creativity, leadership, and endurance that were hidden beneath the surface. The pressure, the challenge, the overwhelming circumstances did not crush them. They uncovered what was always inside. In friendships and relationships, challenges do the same. Disagreements, misunderstandings, and moments of conflict can feel like limits, like insurmountable barriers. Yet those who confront them with patience, understanding, and communication often discover emotional intelligence, empathy, and love deeper than they imagined. The challenge does not limit the relationship. It reveals the depth of character, the ability to forgive, and the power to grow closer through struggle. Consider someone facing a financial crisis. Suddenly bills pile up, savings disappear, and uncertainty looms. Panic could consume them, yet those who face it head on uncover financial intelligence, resourcefulness, and courage. They learn budgeting, negotiation, creative income streams, and resilience. The challenge reveals capacity they never knew they had. It is not a barrier but a bridge to a stronger, wiser version of themselves. Even in health, challenges reveal our limits and expand them. A person recovering from injury or illness may feel weak, frustrated, and incapable. Yet through rehabilitation, patience, and persistence, they often achieve strength, stamina, and endurance beyond their prior state. The challenge was not a limit, it was a revelation. The body, mind, and spirit grow stronger when tested, showing potential that comfort could never reveal. Everyday life is full of these moments. The parent staying calm while a toddler cries endlessly, finding patience they never realized existed. The commuter navigating a chaotic city, discovering resilience and focus under stress. The student presenting in front of a large class, uncovering confidence and eloquence under pressure. The challenges we often complain about are the exact circumstances that reveal what we are truly capable of. Life's challenges are not obstacles in the path of potential. They are instruments designed to uncover it. When you face difficulty, do not ask, "Why me?" Instead, ask, "What is this teaching me about my strength, my courage, my capacity?" Every test, every problem, every hardship is an opportunity to discover the depth of power, endurance, wisdom, and creativity that has always been inside you, waiting to be revealed through action, resilience, and faith in yourself. Have you ever stopped to think how much of your life has been spent waiting for someone to tell you that it's okay to move forward? Waiting for approval, waiting for recognition, waiting for someone to give you permission to act, to dream, to create, to lead. Too many people live like passengers in their own lives, sitting at the back of the bus, waiting for a driver to say, "You may go now." But the truth is, growth never waits for permission. Potential never waits for approval. The moment you are aware of your own capacity, that is the moment you begin to break free from the chains of limitation. Think about a young artist who has always wanted to paint, but hesitates because friends say, "You're not good enough," or family says, "It's too risky." For years, the brushes sit untouched, the canvas remains blank. The talent, the creativity, the genius is there, but it is dormant because the artist has been waiting for permission. Then one day, perhaps quietly, perhaps defiantly, they pick up the brush anyway. The first stroke is shaky, the colors uncertain, but with every movement, every choice, they awaken a potential that no one else could give them. The permission was never outside. They had it within. They just had to become aware of it. Consider the entrepreneur who has a vision for a business, but waits for investors, for mentors, for friends to approve the idea. Months, maybe years, are lost in hesitation. The opportunity passes, the market changes, and the moment fades. But the person who realizes that awareness of one's own vision is enough, that permission is not required from anyone else, begins to act. They take small steps, learn as they go, build, fail, adjust, and eventually succeed. Waiting for permission limits growth, but self-awareness and action unlock it. Even in the workplace, this is true. An employee sees inefficiencies, problems, or opportunities for improvement, but waits for a boss to say, "You can lead this." The idea stagnates, the team struggles, and the potential for impact is lost. The person who becomes aware of their own capacity to initiate, to lead, to propose change, steps forward. They speak up, take responsibility, and in doing so, they expand their influence, discover hidden leadership skills, and create results. Awareness is the key that frees potential from the prison of permission. Sometimes, waiting for permission comes from fear, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of stepping beyond comfort zones. A parent may want to start a new career. A student may want to pursue a passion. A neighbor may want to help the community, but fear holds them back. The moment of awareness is realizing that fear is not a signal to stop, but a signal to act. It whispers, "There is growth waiting here." The person who steps despite fear uncovers resilience, creativity, courage, and wisdom that were dormant. They no longer wait, they act, and in that action, they grow. Consider a writer who dreams of publishing a book, but waits for a publisher's approval. For years, the manuscript collects dust. Then they become aware the power to share their story is in their hands. They self-publish, they share online, they speak publicly, and suddenly their words touch lives, inspire others, and transform communities. The permission they were waiting for existed only in their imagination. Awareness and initiative unleashed what had been hidden. Even in relationships, waiting for permission can limit growth. A person may want to express love, support, or forgiveness, but waits for the other person to make the first move. Months or years pass, connections weaken, and hearts grow distant. Awareness of one's own ability to act, to reach out, to initiate healing, creates transformation. Growth happens when we take responsibility for our actions instead of waiting for external approval. In daily life, this can be as simple as taking responsibility for your own health, your own learning, or your own mindset. Waiting for someone else to tell you it's time to exercise, to study, to change your habits means lost days, lost weeks, lost opportunities. The person who becomes aware of their own power to act, who says, "I don't need permission to start," begins a journey of transformation. Every step forward, every small decision is a declaration that growth does not depend on someone else's approval. Consider the child who wants to build something, to invent, to explore, but is told repeatedly that it's impossible. If the child waits for validation from teachers or parents, curiosity may fade. But if the child becomes aware of their own creativity and begins experimenting anyway, they learn, innovate, and grow. The awareness that they do not need permission becomes the fuel for discovery and the foundation of confidence. Waiting for permission is also visible in how people approach dreams and ambitions. A young woman wants to start a business but waits for her partner's approval. A young man dreams of traveling the world but waits for family to say it's okay. Every day spent waiting is potential wasted. Every missed opportunity a reminder that life moves whether we act or not. Awareness is the key that liberates the mind from hesitation. Once we recognize that the power to act is within us, we begin to move, to explore, to grow, to create, to lead, and to inspire. Awareness is not just knowing your capabilities. It is trusting them, embracing them, and deciding to act despite doubt, criticism, or fear. It is realizing that the growth, the achievement, the change, and the success you desire are not dependent on someone else's approval, but on your own courage and initiative. The moment you choose awareness over waiting, action over hesitation, the world opens up, and the potential within you begins to manifest in ways you never imagined. How many times have you allowed someone else's opinion to shape your self-image? How many times have you believed the doubts of others, the criticisms, the negative whispers, and thought, maybe they are right, maybe I can't? The truth is, the doubts of others are reflections of their own limitations, not yours. They are mirrors of fear, insecurity, and ignorance, and yet so many people allow those reflections to define their own reality. Your potential is not a reflection of someone else's imagination. It is a creation of your own spirit, your own abilities, your own courage. Think about a young student who is told repeatedly, "You will never be a doctor. You are not smart enough. This is too difficult for you." Those words can crush the spirit if believed, but there is a power that exists within that student that has nothing to do with external judgment. Every rejection, every doubt cast by others is an opportunity to discover internal strength. When the student studies late into the night, persists through failures, and eventually earns the degree, they are proving that external doubts have no authority over internal potential. The limitations imposed by others are never the limits of your own ability. They are just noise that must be ignored. Consider the story of an aspiring entrepreneur who is told by friends and family, "You're taking too big a risk. You don't have what it takes. This idea will never work." If the entrepreneur listens, hesitates, or doubts, the vision dies before it even begins. But if they focus on their own skills, creativity, and determination, they begin to test ideas, learn from mistakes, and build momentum. External doubts are just challenges, not verdicts. The moment they act despite criticism, they discover not only their internal potential, but also the resilience and courage required to succeed. Even in small, everyday examples, the principle holds true. The employee overlooked for promotion. The musician told they lacked talent. The athlete criticized for being too slow or too weak. These external judgments are temporary opinions. They do not have the power to define who you are or what you are capable of achieving. The power lies within you, in your dedication, your learning, your persistence, and your belief in yourself. One person's doubt cannot erase the years of preparation, practice, and potential that exist inside you. Imagine a young woman in a community where women are told they cannot lead, cannot speak publicly, cannot pursue careers traditionally held by men. Every negative voice, every limitation projected onto her is a reflection of the speaker's own fear, not her reality. She begins to study, to prepare, to practice, and eventually she stands in front of an audience, speaks with confidence, and inspires others. The doubts of the world could not define her potential, because potential is discovered, not granted. Her internal power was always larger than the skepticism around her. In families, in schools, in workplaces, doubts are constant. Someone may say, "You're too young, you're too inexperienced, you're not ready." If you let those words dictate your actions, you are surrendering your life to others. But if you recognize that your internal potential is independent of what others think, you act boldly, take responsibility, and uncover capabilities you never imagined. The external world has no ownership over your courage, creativity, or capacity. It can question, criticize, and doubt, but it cannot limit the fire that burns within. Think about inventors, creators, and pioneers throughout history. So many were doubted, mocked, or told their ideas would never work. Yet their internal vision, their unwavering belief in their own potential, allowed them to create, innovate, and transform the world. The airplane, the telephone, the light bulb, every great achievement began with someone ignoring external doubt and listening to the quiet, powerful voice within. The moment they embraced their potential, the opinions of others became irrelevant, powerless, and even motivational. Even in relationships and personal interactions, this principle applies. Someone may doubt your ability to lead, to inspire, to nurture, or to create change. Perhaps a friend, colleague, or loved one projects fear or insecurity onto you. Their words, though painful, do not have authority over your potential. Your strength, empathy, wisdom, and courage are not determined by how others see you. Your internal potential is independent, limitless, and waiting to be claimed. In everyday life, this is often tested in subtle ways. The child who struggles in school, the employee overlooked for responsibility, the neighbor whose efforts go unrecognized. Each faces external doubt. The question is not whether others believe in them. The question is whether they themselves believe. The person who persists, learns, acts, and grows discovers that internal potential is far greater than external judgment. Doubt becomes fuel, not chains, a mirror reflecting the opportunity to prove what is possible. When you internalize this truth, life changes. The criticism, skepticism, and negativity of others become background noise. They may try to discourage you, to limit your ambition, to cast shadows on your dreams, but they cannot stop the awakening inside. Your potential is not granted by applause or approval. It is revealed by action, perseverance, courage, and belief. Every time you act despite doubt, every time you push forward when others say you cannot, every time you choose self-belief over criticism, you awaken a deeper layer of your own greatness. Have you ever noticed that the moments you remember most vividly in your life are not the moments of comfort, but the moments that scared you the most? The moments when fear whispered in your ear, "You cannot do this, you are not ready, this is too much for you," yet somehow you faced it anyway. Those are the moments when courage steps forward, not as a loud proclamation, but as a quiet decision to move despite uncertainty. And in that movement, you discover abilities that were hidden inside you all along. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is action in the presence of fear. Self-discovery is the process of stepping into those moments and realizing that what you thought were limits were actually invitations to grow. Think about the young student who is terrified to speak in front of a class. The hands shake, the voice wavers, the heart races, yet somehow the student raises their head, takes a breath, and begins. The first word is awkward, the sentences stumble, but as they continue, a rhythm emerges, a confidence awakens, and by the end, they realize they have communicated clearly, powerfully, and with impact. Courage awakened a hidden ability, the ability to influence, to speak, to lead, that they did not know existed. Without stepping into fear, without risking embarrassment or failure, that ability would have remained dormant. Consider the person who's always dreamed of starting a business but fears failure, debt, or ridicule. The idea sits quietly in their mind for years, but one day they take the first step. They register the company, make the first sales call, pitch their ideas, and face rejection. Yet with each attempt, each challenge, each risk, they discover skills they never knew they had: problem solving, negotiation, creativity, resilience. Courage was the spark that ignited the discovery of their internal abilities. Self-discovery is not found in comfort. It is forged in action, in trying, in daring to face uncertainty and move forward anyway. Even in personal relationships, courage awakens hidden abilities. The parent who faces a rebellious teenager, the friend who confronts a difficult truth, the partner who expresses vulnerability despite fear of rejection. These are all acts of courage. In facing the uncomfortable, in stepping beyond avoidance, they discover patience, empathy, communication skills, and emotional strength. Abilities that were always there are revealed because courage demanded their expression. Self-discovery is the reward for facing life head on instead of retreating into safety. Think about the employee given an assignment beyond their experience. At first, doubt creeps in, fear threatens to paralyze, and hesitation tempts retreat. Yet the moment they say, "I can learn this, I can handle this, I will try," they begin a process of discovery. They uncover leadership, analytical thinking, adaptability, and creativity they never realized they possessed. Courage opened the door, and self-discovery revealed what was hidden behind it. Without stepping forward, without embracing the challenge, these abilities would have remained unseen, untapped, unrealized. Even the most ordinary daily moments can teach the power of courage and self-discovery. The commuter who helps a stranger in danger, the student who stands up against bullying, the neighbor who intervenes to protect someone vulnerable. These are acts that awaken compassion, decisiveness, and moral strength. The hidden abilities of the human spirit do not reveal themselves in convenience. They emerge in risk, in discomfort, in moments that test the heart and mind. Courage is the key, self-discovery is the reward, and together they transform ordinary people into extraordinary beings. Consider the person recovering from a major failure, losing a job, a business collapsing, a project falling apart. It would be easy to give up, to retreat into self-pity, to surrender to fear. Yet the moment they decide to face reality, to analyze what went wrong, to take lessons and act again, they uncover resilience, problem-solving, creativity, and vision they never knew existed. Hidden abilities awaken not in defeat, but in the courageous response to it. Each choice to move forward, each decision to act despite fear, reveals a layer of potential that comfort could never expose. Even in health and physical challenges, courage awakens abilities. The person recovering from illness, injury, or limitation must face pain, uncertainty, and slow progress. Yet through perseverance, discipline, and courage to push forward, strength returns, endurance grows, and abilities that seemed lost are discovered anew. Self-discovery is not passive. It is earned through action, through facing fear, through refusing to be defined by current circumstances. The body, mind, and spirit all reveal hidden capacities when courage is exercised consistently. Think of the artist who hesitates to share their work, fearing criticism or rejection. The first public showing, the first performance, the first display may provoke anxiety, self-doubt, or even ridicule. Yet the courage to present reveals talent, resilience, and confidence that had been dormant. Hidden abilities awaken only when we risk exposure, when we act despite fear, and when we embrace the discomfort of self-expression. Courage and self-discovery are inseparable. They fuel each other, creating growth that is impossible to achieve without stepping into the unknown. Even in leadership, the principle holds. The person suddenly thrust into responsibility, tasked with guiding others through crisis or change, may feel inadequate. Yet courage compels them to speak, to act, to make decisions. And through action, they discover vision, influence, strategy, and determination they never imagined they had. Self-discovery is revealed through the courage to step into the role, to embrace responsibility, and to lead despite fear. The hidden abilities within rise to meet the demand, proving that human potential is far greater than our assumptions. Life constantly presents moments where courage and self-discovery intersect. The moment you speak, act, take initiative, face fear, or step beyond comfort, you awaken an ability within yourself that was always present, always waiting, but invisible until challenged. Every trial, every risk, every decision to act despite fear is a doorway into self-discovery. Hidden abilities lie dormant in every one of us, waiting not for perfect conditions, but for courage to ignite their revelation. Have you ever noticed that every great achievement in history began not with fame, not with wealth, not with recognition, but with a person daring to look within, to explore their own capacity, to understand what they were truly capable of? Before any invention, any business empire, any movement, any discovery, there was a moment of personal discovery, a moment when someone asked, consciously or unconsciously, what am I really capable of? The airplane did not appear overnight. It was the result of the Wright brothers examining their own curiosity, their skills, and their capacity to defy what everyone else thought was impossible. They discovered in themselves knowledge, creativity, and courage, and in that moment, the world changed forever. Think about a young child tinkering with pieces of wood and string, not because anyone told them to invent, but because curiosity led them to experiment. No one may have seen the potential, no one may have offered guidance, yet in their personal exploration, they discovered the mechanics, the cause and effect, the principles of movement. That personal discovery laid the foundation for innovation. The child may have failed 1,000 times, but each failure revealed something new about their abilities, about their thinking, and about what they could accomplish if they persisted. History at every turn shows that greatness begins in the quiet moments of personal discovery, often unnoticed by the world. Consider the person who dreams of writing a book. For years, they doubt themselves, unsure of whether their words matter, whether anyone will care, whether they are capable. Yet one morning, they decide to write a single paragraph, to put thought to paper, to explore the ideas inside their mind. That simple act of self-exploration, of personal discovery, begins a chain reaction. They learn about their own voice, their ability to express complex emotions, their capacity to influence others. Eventually, the book is published, and it touches lives in ways they never imagined. The achievement, the recognition, the impact, all started with a personal discovery of what was already within. Even in business, history shows this pattern. An entrepreneur notices a problem, a need, an opportunity. Before the business exists, before investors believe, before customers respond, the entrepreneur must first discover something about themselves, their ability to endure, to solve problems, to take risks, to innovate. Steve Jobs, for example, started with curiosity and experimentation, discovering in himself a vision and creativity that had no external validation at first. Personal discovery preceded every great success. The world does not hand greatness to those who wait. It reveals greatness to those who explore themselves first. Consider ordinary people in extraordinary circumstances. A young teacher discovers a method to help struggling students understand math. A nurse realizes she can calm a frightened patient with empathy and presence. A community organizer recognizes the power of listening and small, consistent actions to mobilize change. These achievements, though less celebrated, begin with personal discovery. The realization that within ordinary life, hidden abilities exist waiting to be uncovered. History is full of such stories. The world only sees the achievement, not the quiet discovery that preceded it. Even in personal discovery is the foundation of achievement. The runner who pushes past exhaustion, who trains in the cold or the heat, who faces self-doubt with every lap, discovers endurance, resilience, and focus they never imagined they had. That discovery, what transforms them from average to extraordinary. The medal, the record, the applause, all come after the inner work of understanding one's own capacity. History confirms that before the finish line, before the recognition, before the achievement, there was personal discovery. Think about artists who create masterpieces, before the paintings hang in museums, before the music resonates across generations, before the theater performance moves audiences to tears. The artist first discovers the depth of their creativity, the subtleties of emotion, and the courage to express themselves. Each sketch, each note, each rehearsal is an act of personal discovery. Without exploring their own potential, the greatness that history celebrates would never exist. Even in daily life, this principle is true. The single mother who learns she can support her family on her own, discovering resourcefulness and strength she never acknowledged. The student who struggles in a subject but discovers persistence, discipline, and focus that carries them through. The neighbor who finds in themselves the patience, compassion, and courage to help someone in need. These personal discoveries, though small in the eyes of the world, are the seeds of achievement. History is a collection of people who dared to explore themselves before they changed the world around them. Failure, too, is a teacher of personal discovery. The inventor whose first designs fail, the student who fails a test, the young professional who makes costly mistakes. All are discovering what is possible, what is not, and what needs adjustment. Thomas Edison said, "I have not failed. I have just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That is personal discovery. Every failure, every setback, every moment of doubt is an opportunity to learn something about yourself, to uncover hidden skills, resilience, creativity, and strategy. Greatness begins with self-exploration, even in adversity. And in leadership, history confirms this principle. The leader who inspires nations, who transforms communities, who motivates change, begins by discovering their own values, strengths, and vision. Leadership is born from self-awareness, from exploring what one is capable of contributing, from testing limits, and from learning through experience. Personal discovery precedes influence. The world only sees the outcome, the transformation, the progress, the legacy. But the achievement is rooted in understanding oneself. Personal discovery is the engine behind all extraordinary accomplishments. It begins with curiosity, with questioning, with the courage to explore beyond comfort. It continues with experimentation, reflection, and action. And history teaches us that every invention, every breakthrough, every success, every legacy starts not with others, but with the individual daring to discover who they truly are, what they can truly do, and how far they can go. Have you ever noticed that the people who achieve greatness are always the ones willing to step into the unknown, to risk failure, to challenge what everyone else believes is impossible? Discovering yourself is not a comfortable process. It is not a journey that unfolds in safety and certainty. It is a path marked by risk, by persistence, and by resilience. To uncover your true abilities, your hidden potential, your extraordinary capacities, you must be willing to face uncertainty, to take chances, and to keep moving even when the world seems against you. Think about the young professional who dreams of starting a business. Every step feels uncertain. The first investment is risky. The first client pitch could fail. The first product launch might flop. Most people retreat at the thought of losing money, failing publicly, or disappointing others. But the person who is discovering themselves takes the risk anyway. They learn to face rejection, to adjust strategies, to adapt to challenges, and in the process they uncover skills, problem solving, creativity, leadership that were dormant until tested. Risk is the spark that ignites the discovery of what you are truly capable of. Consider the student who struggles with a subject in school, failing exams repeatedly, doubting their intelligence. The easy path would be to give up, to settle for mediocrity, to avoid the discomfort of repeated effort. Yet the student who persists, who studies longer, asks for help, and tries again despite setbacks, discovers not only mastery of the subject, but also patience, discipline, and the ability to overcome obstacles. Persistence turns struggle into insight, failure into learning, and limitations into opportunities. Discovering yourself requires this relentless persistence. Even when the path seems uphill and the outcome uncertain, resilience is the companion of risk and persistence. Imagine a single parent juggling multiple jobs, family responsibilities, and personal dreams. Life knocks them down constantly. Unexpected bills, illness, emotional challenges, exhaustion. But they rise again each day. They keep moving, keep trying, keep believing in their own capacity. Through resilience, they uncover endurance, creativity, courage, and a capacity for love and leadership that no one could have anticipated. Discovering yourself demands that same resilience. The ability to face adversity, to recover, and to continue growing even when the journey is hard. Even in sports, the principle is clear. An athlete who wants to reach elite levels must risk pain, risk failure, and risk humiliation. Early mornings, grueling training, losses, injuries, they all test the body and the mind. Yet through persistence and resilience, hidden strength is revealed. The athlete discovers not just physical ability, but mental toughness, strategy, focus, and the discipline to keep pushing when every instinct screams to quit. Self-discovery is forged in the fires of effort and challenge, not in comfort or ease. Consider someone pursuing a creative passion, a musician, a painter, a writer. The first performances may be awkward, the first works criticized, the first opportunities rejected. Many give up, believing the world is against them or that they are not talented enough. But the person who keeps taking risks, creating, sharing, and improving uncovers their own voice, artistry, and confidence. Persistence and resilience transform doubt into skill, criticism into growth, and risk into discovery. Each challenge is an invitation to explore deeper layers of self and potential. Even in daily life, risk, persistence, and resilience reveal hidden capacity. The commuter who takes a new route to save time discovers patience and adaptability. The neighbor who stands up for someone facing injustice uncovers courage and moral strength. The employee who volunteers for a project beyond their experience discovers leadership and problem-solving abilities. These small acts, repeated consistently, are exercises in risk, persistence, and resilience, building a foundation for larger self-discovery and achievement. Risk is never without fear, but it is necessary. Consider the person deciding to move to a new city for a job, leaving family, friends, and familiarity behind. The first days are filled with loneliness, confusion, and uncertainty. Yet persistence in building new relationships, learning new skills, and navigating challenges leads to a discovery of independence, adaptability, and courage. Resilience turns the difficult journey into a path of self-realization, proving that personal growth requires both stepping into the unknown and enduring the difficulties that follow. Sometimes the risks are internal, facing your own fears, insecurities, and doubts. Confronting these internal challenges requires persistence to keep moving forward and resilience to recover from setbacks and discouragement. A person trying to overcome addiction, a student battling anxiety, a professional confronting imposter syndrome, they all must risk vulnerability, persist in effort, and remain resilient in the face of setbacks. In doing so, they uncover strength, discipline, wisdom, and self-awareness they could not have imagined. Discovering yourself is an inside job as much as it is an external journey, and risk, persistence, and resilience are the tools that reveal the layers of who you are. Even failures become opportunities for self-discovery when approached with persistence and resilience. The entrepreneur whose first 3 businesses fail, the student who fails a critical exam, the athlete who loses a championship, they are all discovering their capacity to endure, to adapt, to learn, and to rise again. Risk may have led to failure, but persistence ensures continuation and resilience guarantees recovery. Together, they reveal hidden abilities, deepen character, and uncover potential that would have remained dormant without the challenge. Life itself is a continuous series of risks, persistence, and resilience. Each day presents opportunities to discover something new about ourselves, our talents, our strength, and our purpose. Every challenge invites us to risk action, persist through difficulty, and remain resilient in adversity. Discovering yourself is not an event. It is a process, a journey, a conscious choice to embrace uncertainty, confront fear, and continue forward no matter how many times you fall, stumble, or feel discouraged. Have you ever looked around and noticed how many people live their lives quietly settling? They wake up each day, follow the routine, go to work, come home, and repeat, never questioning why their life feels smaller than it should. They accept what is offered rather than what is possible. They settle for jobs that don't challenge them, relationships that don't inspire them, dreams that are whispered away by fear. And the reason they settle is rarely because the world forced them to. It is because they have not recognized the immense potential that resides within them. Settling is not natural. It is a symptom of unawareness, of not knowing what you are truly capable of achieving. Think about the young professional who stays in a job that drains their energy simply because it feels safe. The salary is predictable, the expectations are low, and the environment is familiar. To everyone else, it seems stable, responsible, and even wise. But inside, there is a voice, a spark, a stirring of dissatisfaction. That spark is your potential trying to break through, reminding you that you were created for more than comfort. If that spark is ignored, settling becomes a habit. If it is recognized, action begins. Recognizing potential is the first step to refusing to settle. Because once you see what you are capable of, ordinary life is no longer acceptable. Consider someone in a relationship where love has become routine, where care is absent, and where passion is dormant. They stay because it is convenient, because fear tells them leaving would be difficult, because the familiar is easier than the unknown. Yet deep inside, they know they deserve connection, respect, and growth. Settling in relationships is a sign that they have not fully recognized their worth, their capacity for love, and the joy they are capable of giving and receiving. Once a person becomes aware of the value they carry, once they recognize their potential to love fully and be loved fully, settling is no longer an option. Even in education, this principle is clear. A student may accept mediocre grades, minimal effort, or minimal learning because they believe that is all they can achieve. Perhaps they are surrounded by people who have lowered expectations, by teachers who offer little encouragement, by circumstances that tempt them to give up. Yet inside them lies untapped ability, creativity, intelligence, and potential waiting to be unleashed. The moment they realize their potential, they push further, work harder, dream bigger, and refuse to accept the ordinary. Settling is replaced by pursuit, mediocrity by excellence. Think about the small business owner who never expands, never innovates, never takes risks. They operate just enough to survive, content with average results. The reason is not always fear of failure. Sometimes it is a lack of recognition of the capacity they carry. They fail to see that their vision, ideas, skills, and leadership could take them far beyond the limits they have set for themselves. Unrecognized potential keeps them small. Once they begin to explore what they are capable of achieving, once they push past comfort, once they allow themselves to dream bigger, the habit of settling disappears. Growth begins when potential is acknowledged. Even in daily life, subtle settling happens. The parent who never challenges themselves, the friend who never speaks their truth, the neighbor who never contributes ideas or creativity, the person who never stands up for themselves. All of these are signs that potential is being ignored. Life is full of opportunities to act, to explore, to stretch, to grow. When these opportunities are ignored, settling quietly takes root. But the moment a person recognizes their inner capacity, their skills, their strength, their wisdom, they begin to refuse anything that is less than what they can achieve. Potential awakens ambition, and ambition refuses to settle. Consider the person who dreams of travel, adventure, or new experiences, but convinces themselves it is impossible, that it is risky, or that it is unnecessary. They live in the boundaries of routine, never testing the limits of what is possible for them. Their settling is not a reflection of the world. It is a reflection of their own unrecognized capacity. Once they realize they have the ability to plan, to save, to act, to take calculated risks, they begin to embrace life fully. Recognizing potential transforms desire into action, curiosity into experience, and dreams into reality. Even setbacks reveal unrecognized potential. Someone who fails in business, loses a relationship, or faces repeated disappointment may be tempted to accept a smaller life, to retreat into safety, to settle. Yet the same setbacks can awaken latent ability. Problem solving, perseverance, innovation, emotional intelligence, and resilience. Unrecognized potential keeps them small, but the moment they acknowledge what they are capable of, they refuse to accept less than what they can create. History and life are filled with examples of people who faced failure yet refused to settle, achieving greatness because they recognized and acted on their potential. In health and personal development, settling manifests as ignoring the body, the mind, or the habits that can elevate life. The person who avoids exercise, neglects learning, or suppresses their own creativity is settling because they have not recognized their potential to thrive. Once they begin to act, to explore their strength, endurance, knowledge, and talents, they refuse the ordinary and embrace the extraordinary. The potential within becomes a driving force that dismantles complacency. Settling is a silent thief of life. It robs joy, ambition, creativity, and purpose. Yet the antidote is simple awareness. Once you become aware of the power, capacity, and talent within you, once you understand that your potential is vast and unbounded, settling is no longer acceptable. The realization sparks action, courage, and relentless pursuit of growth. Every choice becomes an opportunity to refuse mediocrity, to stretch, to evolve, and to reach for what you are capable of achieving. Potential recognized is destiny awakened, and once destiny awakens, settling simply cannot survive. Have you ever wondered why some people achieve extraordinary things while others live average lives despite having similar opportunities? The truth is, greatness is not something handed to you. It is not given in a diploma, in a job, in a promotion, or even in recognition from the world. Greatness is revealed. It emerges from deliberate choices, persistent effort, and a conscious decision to uncover what is already within you. It is a discovery, not a gift, a result of intentional action rather than luck or permission. Think about the young student sitting in a classroom, surrounded by peers, some of whom may be smarter, faster, or more confident. The material seems challenging, the teacher's expectations high, and the temptation to give up strong. Yet the student makes a choice to focus, to study, to learn beyond what is required, to ask questions, to challenge themselves. With each act of effort, each moment of persistence, a layer of potential is revealed. This student discovers intelligence, creativity, and problem-solving ability they may not have realized existed. Greatness is not given by the classroom. It is uncovered through the choice to engage fully with the opportunity before them. Consider the athlete who trains day after day, sometimes in pain, sometimes doubting, sometimes failing repeatedly in competitions. No medal is promised at the beginning, no coach guarantees success, yet the athlete chooses to show up, to push limits, to endure hardship. In the process, strength, speed, resilience, and mental toughness are revealed. Each drop of sweat, each failure, each disciplined action uncovers a part of greatness that was always within, waiting for the courage and determination to be activated. No one hands this greatness over. The athlete must choose to reveal it. Even in business, greatness is revealed, not given. The entrepreneur starts with an idea, maybe a skill, maybe just curiosity. Nobody guarantees success. Nobody hands the market over to them. Yet the entrepreneur decides to act, to take risks, to learn, to adapt, to innovate. With each challenge faced, each setback endured, each problem solved, they uncover leadership, creativity, and vision that was dormant. The marketplace does not confer greatness. It only provides a stage. The entrepreneur must choose to step on that stage and reveal what they are capable of. Think about artists, writers, and musicians. Talent alone does not create greatness. Many people have talent that never becomes anything remarkable because they wait for recognition, validation, or opportunity to appear. But the artist who chooses to practice daily, to explore new ideas, to push boundaries, reveals mastery, originality, and influence. Each brushstroke, each note, each word is a deliberate action that uncovers potential. Greatness is not received from applause or critics. It is discovered through consistent choice, dedication, and courage. Even in relationships and community, greatness is revealed. The parent, friend, or leader who decides to go beyond self-interest, who chooses to listen, empathize, guide, and serve uncovers wisdom, patience, and influence that were latent. Nobody hands them greatness. They must choose to act, to give, to care, to guide. With each choice to step up, with each act of responsibility and compassion, The greatness within is revealed and multiplied. It is through intentional action that influence grows, character is formed, and impact becomes visible. Consider someone overcoming failure or hardship. A failed business, a lost opportunity, or personal setback can feel like the end, yet it is often the beginning of revealed greatness. The person who chooses to learn, to rise, to adapt, to move forward discovers resilience, resourcefulness, and determination. They uncover courage and creativity that were hidden beneath fear, disappointment, or doubt. Greatness is not bestowed by circumstance, it is revealed by how we respond to challenges, by the choice to act rather than surrender. Even in daily life, greatness is revealed in small ways that accumulate over time. The neighbor who helps quietly, the student who tutors others, the employee who improves processes beyond expectation, the person who learns a new skill or habit. These small choices uncover diligence, integrity, skill, and leadership. No one gives you greatness for these actions, but through consistent intentional choices, your potential is revealed and amplified. Every day presents opportunities to uncover parts of yourself that you have not yet seen, and every choice to act unlocks a new level of capacity. Think about someone who feels ordinary, unnoticed, or underestimated. Greatness does not wait for recognition. It waits for the choice to uncover it. A person decides to pursue knowledge, to mentor, to innovate, to challenge themselves physically, emotionally, and intellectually. Each decision, each moment of effort is a key unlocking abilities, creativity, and influence that were always present. Greatness was never missing. It was simply dormant until intentionally revealed. Finally, consider the mindset of those who have changed the world. They did not wait for titles, for permission, for resources, or for validation. They chose to act, to create, to explore, to lead. With every choice, every action, every act of persistence, the greatness inside them was revealed. What was once hidden became evident. What was potential became tangible. What was latent became powerful. The lesson is clear: greatness is never given. It is a result of deliberate, intentional choice to uncover what you already carry inside you. And it grows every time you choose to act on it, to stretch beyond comfort, to persevere against doubt, and to embrace the responsibility of your own potential. Have you ever noticed that every person who has made a significant difference in the world started with a simple decision to explore what was inside them? Before any action changed the world, something inside them shifted. Unlocking your potential is not a passive process. It is an active, deliberate journey. It begins with recognizing that what lies within you is far greater than what the world currently sees. Your skills, your ideas, your creativity, your courage, your perseverance. These are tools waiting to be discovered, shaped, and unleashed. When you unlock even a fraction of your potential, your life begins to transform, and the ripple effect spreads far beyond you. Think about a young teacher who feels frustrated with the limitations of their classroom. They realize that by teaching with passion, innovating methods, and engaging students in ways beyond the textbook, they can unlock their potential as an educator. They begin to experiment, to inspire, to challenge students to think critically. In the process, the teacher discovers abilities, creativity, leadership, communication that were dormant. As their potential is unleashed, students respond, lives are changed, and the classroom becomes a microcosm of transformation. Unlocking your potential transforms not just your life, but the lives of those around you. Consider the example of an employee in a company who feels stuck in routine, performing tasks automatically without innovation. One day, they decide to apply their unique skills and perspective to propose ideas, to take initiative. Their creativity begins to reveal itself, their leadership is noticed, and suddenly they are influencing colleagues, improving processes, and creating opportunities for growth. By unlocking their potential, they not only change their career trajectory, they impact the organization and everyone who benefits from their contributions. Transformation begins within, but it extends outward in ways often unimagined. Even small daily actions can illustrate the power of unlocked potential. The neighbor who decides to mentor a child, the friend who chooses to share knowledge or offer guidance, the community member who leads an initiative to help those in need. All begin by recognizing their own capacity to make a difference. It starts internally with the realization that their abilities, no matter how ordinary they may seem, have extraordinary power when applied intentionally. Unlocking potential is the bridge between personal fulfillment and broader impact. Think about the artist who has always created in private, painting, writing, composing music, but never sharing it with the world. When they finally take the courage to exhibit their work or perform publicly, They discover the influence of their talent. The audience is moved, inspired, or changed, sometimes in profound ways. What was once hidden and personal now has a transformative effect on others. This is the essence of unlocking potential. It begins internally, but it inevitably touches the lives of others. Consider entrepreneurs who started small, unsure if they had the skill or vision to succeed. By embracing their ideas, working tirelessly, learning from mistakes, and persisting through doubt, they unlock their potential to innovate, lead, and create opportunities. The businesses they build not only change their own lives, but create jobs, services, and solutions that affect entire communities. The act of unlocking potential is never just personal, it has a ripple effect that expands into the world. Every choice to act on hidden abilities generates impact far beyond imagination. Even in personal development, the principle holds true. The person who decides to pursue fitness, learning, or emotional growth may start for themselves, but as they improve, their example inspires family, friends, and colleagues. Their energy, confidence, and focus motivate others to take action. Unlocking your potential transforms your life first, but it always radiates outward. The impact is not always immediate or visible, but the cumulative effect is undeniable. Transformation is contagious. Consider the community leader who recognizes that their voice and initiative can address local challenges. By stepping forward, organizing, and motivating others, they unlock their potential to lead, communicate, and inspire. The impact is not limited to their own growth. It extends to families, neighborhoods, and future generations. Unlocking potential is the key to multiplying influence. The more you develop and act upon your abilities, the more your life and the world around you are transformed. Even in moments of adversity, unlocking potential reveals power that reshapes both self and environment. The person who faces financial hardship, emotional loss, or professional setbacks can respond by finding inner resilience, creativity, and problem-solving skills they didn't know existed. As they act on these abilities, they not only change their circumstances, but also inspire others facing similar challenges. The transformation is both personal and societal. Every difficulty becomes an opportunity to uncover potential that impacts more than just the individual. Think about the student who discovers a passion for science or technology and dedicates themselves to learning beyond the classroom. As they unlock their potential through research, experimentation, and innovation, they may develop solutions that improve healthcare, energy, or communication for communities and nations. The choice to explore and apply hidden abilities transforms their own life, career, and the world around them. Personal potential, when acted upon, is never confined. It expands, grows, and multiplies impact. Unlocking your potential is the key that connects who you are to what the world needs. It is not a one-time event, but a continuous journey of exploration, action, and growth. The more you understand your abilities, the more you refine your skills, the more intentional your choices, the more significant your life's transformation and your influence on others. Every act of courage, persistence, creativity, and service is a step toward revealing potential that changes not only your life, but the lives of countless others. It is a chain reaction. Your discovery of power inside becomes a force for positive change beyond yourself. As we come to this moment together, I want you to realize something that will change the way you see yourself and the life ahead of you. The truth is that within you lies a power, a capacity, and a potential that the world has not yet seen. It has always been there waiting for you to acknowledge it, to embrace it, and to act upon it. Every fear you have felt, every doubt that whispered in your ear, every challenge that seemed insurmountable was not there to stop you. It was there to awaken you, to teach you, and to remind you that you have greatness within. You see, your potential is not limited by what others think, by your past failures, by the circumstances you face, or by the limitations you have accepted for too long. It is only limited by your willingness to discover it, to explore it, and to unleash it. Imagine for a moment the person in your life who inspires you the most. What if I told you that they once sat exactly where you are now, uncertain, fearful, unsure of themselves, yet they chose to move, they chose to act, they chose to believe in their ability to overcome, to grow, and to succeed. That is the message today. Greatness does not happen to people. It happens in people when they decide to rise, when they decide to step beyond fear, and when they choose to explore what is hidden within. Your life, your story, your journey is not a result of chance. It is a result of choice. And the choice is yours to unlock what has always been waiting inside. Think about the greatest minds, the greatest leaders, the people who have changed the course of history, they were not born extraordinary in every way. They became extraordinary because they refused to accept limitations. They explored their own capacity. They pushed past obstacles. They learned from every failure. And they refused to settle for anything less than their best. The same potential exists in you. The same ability to influence, to create, to lead, to innovate, to inspire is already inside you. The difference between the life you have and the life you are meant to live is your willingness to act, to move, to embrace your power, and to discover what you are capable of. Remember the words of Dr. Myles Munroe when he said that you were not created to live an ordinary life, that you were designed for greatness, that your purpose is the key to your potential. These are not just words, they are a call to action. You were not put on this earth to exist quietly, to follow the path of least resistance, or to let fear dictate your choices. You were created to rise, to lead, to create impact, to transform your life, and to leave a legacy that outlives you. The spark of greatness within you is not waiting for permission. It is waiting for your courage, your vision, and your determination to ignite it. Consider for a moment the small actions you have taken in the past, the moments when you pushed a little harder, when you persisted a little longer, when you chose to act despite doubt. Those were glimpses of your potential. Every challenge you faced, every risk you took, every fear you confronted has been preparing you for this moment, this life, this opportunity to rise. Greatness is revealed through action, not intention. It is revealed by those who are willing to step forward, to try, to fail, to learn, and to keep going until they succeed. The power to transform your life is already in your hands. All that is required is that you choose to take it, to use it, and to unleash it. Imagine your life a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. The only difference between the person you are today and the person you will become is what you do with the potential inside you right now. Every moment you hesitate is a moment that potential waits to be discovered. Every choice to fear is a choice to hide your greatness. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a step toward the life you were designed to live. It is your choice to embrace that power, to awaken that potential, and to make your life extraordinary. Think of the stories you have heard of people who refused to give up, who faced impossible odds, who overcame failure after failure. Their secret was not luck. It was not talent alone. It was their refusal to ignore their own potential. They chose to act, to learn to grow, to persist, and to rise. And the truth is, the same is true for you. You may not see it yet, you may not feel it yet, but within you lies the same power, the same courage, the same resilience, the same capacity to make a difference. Greatness waits for no one, but it waits for those who choose to find it, to own it, and to live it. Every day from this moment on is an opportunity to step into your potential, to rise above fear, to refuse to settle, to take risks, to persist, to grow, and to impact the world. Your life is the canvas, and your potential is the brush. You can paint a life of extraordinary achievement, influence, and fulfillment. You can transform not only your own life, but the lives of everyone around you. The moment you recognize that greatness is not given, but revealed, that potential is not accidental, but intentional, that your choices determine your impact, you will understand the power within you to rise above ordinary, to reach beyond limitations, and to become everything you were meant to be. So I challenge you today, as you leave this place, as you continue your journey, to refuse to let your life be defined by fear, by doubt, by circumstance, or by the opinions of others. Embrace your potential, explore your abilities, take deliberate action, persist through challenges, and rise to the greatness that is already within you. Your life is your story, and you have the pen, you have the power, and you have the responsibility to write it in a way that inspires, influences, and transforms. The world is waiting for your greatness to be revealed, and it begins with the choice you make today